I was looking at my notes. Okay, all right. Hello, everyone. I'm Daphne Seacray. I would love for us to please give a warm welcome to Virginia Carmelo, elder, former tribe chairperson for the Gabrielino Tongva Nation of the Los Angeles Basin. And as we give her a warm welcome, I want to ask folks to please go to the Gabrielino Tongva Nation website. We will be providing information on this. And to please sign the petition that asks Congress to please make sure that federal recognition is established for the Gabrielino Tongva Nation in full. So when you have a free moment, please go to the website and sign the petition. And with that, let's please welcome Virginia Carmelo. Thank you.
Me hija, Eyohiam, Shahoan Shpenok ne Mainara, Mopia, Netuanya ne Virginia Carmelo, no ne Hach, Gabrielino Tongva, Koi Kumia Ligenio. Buenas tardes, mis amigos. Primeramente quisiera dar honor al Creador, el primero, y me llamo Virginia Carmelo y soy del tribu Gabrielino y también de los Kumiyais. So, good afternoon, everyone. First of all, I want to give honor to our Creator, the first one. And my name is Virginia Carmelo, and I am Gabrielino Tongva and Kumiyai Higenyo. And I'm happy to be here. I'm honored to be able to be with you and acknowledge our land and our ancestors. Their presence here as the original inhabitants, heirs, and caretakers of our traditional ancestral tribal lands has been since time immemorial. Importantly and historically, these lands have never been ceded. In historical times, we were given many names and descriptions by others: the Long Arms, the Diggers, the Gabrieleños, the Quiche, the Fernandeños, Mission, Cosos Oshoni, and more. Today, more commonly, we call ourselves Tongva, or Tongbe, as my ancestors before me would have said it. It conveys the meaning of people of the earth. We are a people that identify with our land base. In 1994, this folded state acknowledged the Gabrielino Tongva Nation as the aboriginal inhabitants of the Los Angeles Basin. Still, we are among over 100 California native tribes lacking the status of federal recognition. Our Tongva ancestors were not nomadic. They thrived in a rich and dynamic maritime culture, interacting with a network of nearly 100 known villages and a clan and economic system that interacted with all of Southern California and beyond. Honuk Betam, or our ancestors, as an integral part of the land and with a superb understanding of the land, enhanced our local biodiversity for centuries. They established and traveled all the connected and well-traveled paths from the mountains to the sea. We have maintained an ongoing relationship and knowledge of this beautiful and rich land and its Mediterranean climate. The city of Los Angeles lies in the neighboring village of Yanga, one of our important gathering places. Allow me to give you an accurate description of Tawanga, our Tongva tribal ancestral lands. It covers the entire Los Angeles basin and the 4 southern Channel Islands. Those of you that came in from other lands, maybe you won't recognize some of those names. These things I'm going to share with you, but those of you that live closer will probably recognize them. We identify this land base today as a greater part of Los Angeles and Orange counties and parts of Riverside and San Bernardino counties. Also, our lands were defined by natural geographic borders. In the north, we are bounded by what we call today the Santa Susana Mountains. The entire San Fernando Valley was home to many of our Tongva villages, such as Tuhunga, Kawinga, and Pukoinga, and you could recognize these as Tahunga, Kawenga, and Pacoima. Towards the east, we have the San Gabriel Mountains, which we call Hachayuat. It means the snowy mountains. And, we have the beautiful Sierra Nevadas that transverse the entire state of California. We call Sierra Nevada, which also translates to the snowy mountains. In the east, we also have the villages Haramuka, Shusanga, Cucamonga, all the way to Hurugna. Today, they are called Redbox, Azusa, Cucamonga, and Hurupa. To the south, we have the natural features and boundaries of today's San Joaquin Hills, Santiago Canyon, and all the way to Aliso Creek. I come to you today from Hupucna, which you may know as Anaheim. On the west, we have our coastal villages, one of them being Topanga, and you can call it Topanga today. And we have our 4 beautiful islands, the largest being Pimu, which you know as Catalina Islands. The ancestors identified villages for the significant feature of that area. The village names describes and demonstrates our people's deep knowledge of their land. We are proud that Tawanga is, and has always been, a flourishing center of abundance and creativity, which all of you share with me today as you join in your celebration. On behalf of my ancestors, I welcome you here as we gather today. Also, on behalf of myself, I would like to express my gratitude to you for sharing in this land acknowledgement as we work to undo the erasure of indigenous people, not just here in their own lands, but worldwide. It's happened. So we want to correct that, and I thank you for joining with me in that. Peace, and may it be well with all of you.
Thank you, Virginia. Hi, everyone. My name is Jacqueline Flores, and I am the LTC producer. Welcome to the Latinx Theater Commons National Convening at the 2024 Encuentro. It is an honor to wear the producer hat for this movement and to serve you all in this capacity. For those that don't know, the LTC stands for Latinx Theater Commons. We are a commons which means we are a digital, virtual, and public square. By being part of this event, you are members of the Commons. If you post on our Facebook page, read a piece about Latinx theater on HowlRound, you are a member of the Commons. Anyone with anything to say or do related to Latinx theater that chooses to use our public square is a member of the Commons. There are no dues, there's no acceptance process. If you're here, you're in the Commons, and we are so happy you're here. A Commons is a resource owned by no one that benefits everyone. In a Commons, we all manage these resources. And in the LTC, our resources are managed by a steering and advisory committee. The LTC uses a horizontal rather than vertical power structure, and our programming is dedicated and decided, but also dedicated, and curated by a steering committee of 38 people. The steering committee is made up of volunteers who believe in the mission of the LTC and help continue to push it forward. We also have the advisory committee, which is made up of 48 members, and the advisory committee is for those who have served on the LTC steering committee before and whom I am grateful to lean on for guidance and advice. If you're a part of the LTC steering or advisory committee, can you please stand? So if this is your first convening with the LTC, or you want to learn more about the LTC and what we do, please go up to any of these wonderful people, introduce yourself, and start a conversation. We also have a new convener session later today. It's on your schedule. It's on the Encuentro app. There might be some food. So you should come. There also might be some LTC swag. I know. It's how I bribe people. So today is actually very special because it is the 11th anniversary of the LTC's very first convening, which took place on October 31st, 2013 in Boston. At the time, it was the largest gathering of Latinx theater makers in 25 years. Since then, the LTC has produced 14 convenings across the United States, published multiple books and Latinx content on HowlRound, live-streamed our programming and virtual conversations on HowlRound TV, and we have over 7,000 community members as part of our Facebook group. 10 years ago, the LTC had its second national convening, right here at the 2014 Encuentro. Yeah, the 2014 Encuentro brought together 12 companies and 150 artists. Okay. This year, they celebrate 10 years of Encuentro with 10 companies and over 167 artists. What did I say? Just kidding, 19 companies. So our convening was curated by our programming and host and social committee, and over the last several months, we have met to discuss the makeup of this room, so all of you, the conversations we are engaging in, the food we are eating, and every detail in between. I'm so thankful to work with these passionate individuals, and I'm going to introduce you to two people who co-championed the programming committee for this convening. They have been incredible thought partners to me and all of our committee members, and they are going to share a little bit more about what you can expect this week. So please welcome Daphne Sicre and Dylan Iruegas.
Hi everyone. My name is Dylan Rodriguez. My pronouns are he, him, his, or it, and I have been with the LTC for about 5, almost 6 years now.
My name is Daphne Sicre. My pronouns are she, her, ella, and I've been with the LTC 9 years.
Sweet. And like she said, we're your champions.
All right, so I think so. Oh my goodness, make it a little larger.
that you are able to make the best of all of our programmatic offerings for you, including sessions and wonderful shows.
We want to make sure that as you are attending sessions and shows and fiestas and all that lovely stuff and food, we want to make sure that you're trying to foster an inclusive space by creating a space for critical generosity where all are welcome and in conversation, regardless of your training, regardless of your background. And we want to remind you to have fun and to make the best of your time here.
Also, feel free to ask us any questions about everything, and even if we may not necessarily have the right answer, we can probably point you in the right direction. So thank you for being here.
Thank you, everyone.
Back to me. Thank you, Daphne and Dylan. We're packing in so much this week, and I hope you all get to enjoy it. Like I said earlier, we are all here to gather during the Encuentro, and none of this is possible without the Latino Theater Company. Some of you may not know this, but I actually got here 6 weeks ago to start prep for this convening, and the staff welcomed me with open arms, a desk, and snacks. I may or may not leave. Thank you, Jose Luis, Evelina, Jeff, Lucy, and Sal for your leadership of this company. And thank you to the entire staff for all of their work on this convening. If you are looking at your program, the graphics on social media, and the cool merch that you got and thinking, who makes this happen? I can tell you who. Everyone, please help me give a very warm Latinx Theater Commons. We have this battle, LTC versus LTC. So a Commons welcome to Javi Moreno.
Thank you so much. How we feeling? Oh, we can do better than that. Latinx Theater Commons, how we feeling? Are you ready? If you're ready to have an exciting time, say presente. If you're ready to have an exciting time, say presente. When I shout out your city or your state, I want you to shout with me and say presente. New Orleans. New York. Colombia. Ecuador. Presente. If they're not here, we're going to say presente. Inland Empire. Yeah, all right. Orange County. The Northeast. San Francisco Bay Area. Philadelphia. Brazil. Brooklyn. Panama. Presente. San Diego. Texas. Damn, Texas. Boston, Massachusetts. West Coast, USA. Mexico. Híjole. San Antonio, Texas. Costa Rica. Guatemala. Connecticut. Aslan. Ohio. Chile. New Mexico. South Texas. Dominican Republic. And last but not least, La Isla del Encanto, the most beautiful island, Puerto Rico! And how about Los Angeles? Go Dodgers! Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Javi Moreno. It's my pleasure to welcome you to the Los Angeles Theater Center, home of the Latino Theater Company. We have an exciting 3 weeks of performances, 19 companies, 165 artists, and 6 theater spaces. Yes. If you're ready, say presente. Is this side ready? Is this side ready? Is this side ready? Make some noise if this is your first Latinx Theater Commons National Convening. Second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th. All right, just Adriana. She was the only one there. Folks, I'm going to introduce somebody who's going to come up on the stage and welcome you to the Los Angeles Theater Center. But when you see us around, if you see us here, we have our Ask Me How badges. You have an app, it's on the guidebook. We sent you an email. Make sure to download that app. It has all the information you need. It has your schedule. You can interact with each other, connect with one another. It's also important to have the app so that we can send you messages in case of an emergency, in case if anything happens, or last minute updates. Please download the app. Also, because the Dodgers won, go Dodgers! Jose Luis has agreed and we've extended. Originally you had 6 tickets in your pass. You now have 19 tickets. So if you want to see performances tonight, tomorrow, Sunday, or next week, use your pass. You have an extra 13 tickets. This weekend and this weekend only, Thursdays are $10, but we have $15 tickets using the code Go Dodgers. So invite everyone to come down, see some beautiful theater. There's a lot going on in our country. We're here together. We're united. Are we united or not? Are you ready to see some beautiful theater? Are you ready to connect with one another? Are you ready to encounter each other? I want you to stand up real quick. Stand up with me real quick. Right before I introduce the man of the hour, stand up. I want you to look at the person next to them and give them a high five. Yes. And if you're sitting next to your bestie, because that's where you feel comfortable, I want you to challenge yourself to meet someone else today. To meet someone else this weekend, someone you don't know, someone you want to meet, someone you want to learn from, and connect with one another. Connect with them in the lobby, see a play with them, have lunch with them, have drink with them, because this is what this festival is all about. It's about connecting each other and showing the world that Latinos are here in Los Angeles, in the United States, porque aquí estamos, y no nos vamos. Y si nos echan, nos regresamos. The what? That's going to be in the app. Oh, good. There's a parade tomorrow because the Dodgers won. Oh, make some noise if you already voted. All right. If you haven't voted, please make sure to vote. It's very important to vote. Now, join me in welcoming Artistic Director of the Latino Theater Company, Jose Luis Valenzuela.
Hello? Thank you, Javi. That's so much energy. So early in the morning, brother. Good to know. Well, before I start, I want to introduce, I think, Jeff Rivas, Evelina Fernandez, and Saul and Lucia are not here, but please stand up so they know who you are. These are the members, founding members of the Latino Theater Company. Welcome, everybody. This is the manifesto that we write every 3 years for the Encuentro. So, welcome, everybody. Bienvenidos a todos. Here we stand a decade after our first Encuentro 2014, celebrating the vibrant tapestry woven by Latino theater makers in the United States, Puerto Rico, and Mexico. Why gather once more for the National Encuentro? Years ago, we embarked on this journey with our hearts full of questions. Who are we? Where do we come from? Where are we going? In the spaces between our gatherings, history intervened. The silence of the pandemic, the echoes of George Floyd's name, shifting the dialogue on diversity, Latinidad, and the heartbeat of Black Lives Matter. As we ponder the role of our encuentros, our encounters, and the artist flames ignited by Latino theaters across the land, we ask ourselves, what part do we play in this national conversation? What tools do we wield to spark dialogue in our communities to illuminate the truths of our daily life and shared concerns? Art, our sacred weapon, becomes a beacon, a means to give voice to the unspoken, to dream boldly of a future unfolding before us, to challenge the narrative that casts shadows upon our souls. How do we rise against a tide that labels us as criminals, rapists, drug dealers, thieves, garbage? How do we reclaim our truth and reshape the stories that bind us? We know our reality. We embrace our complexity. We celebrate our beauty, even as we confront the distortions, images made by colonialism, crafted by an oppressive gaze for centuries. It's time to shatter those bonds with a sin fronteras spirit, to rise against the systems that seeks to limit our creativity, that urges to conform to a culture intent on rewriting our narrative, to fit an archaic game, but instead let us ignite a revolution. Let us reclaim our voices, redefine our narratives, and weave our artistic self-determination into the fabric of this nation. We gather not to bow before the judgment of critics, but to embrace an artistic dialogue, celebrating the extraordinary work of our companies, creating magic with scant resources, fueled by passion and an así se puede attitude. Let us be architects of our own destiny. Let us challenge, innovate, and engage in authentic conversations. Together, we should shape our future in the American theater, a future that honors and respects us for our unique contributions, for our authenticity, our voices that resonate like a chorus. Let us craft our own canon, a vibrant testament to our existence, to declare to the world that we are here, that we matter, that our stories are worthy of being told, and that aquí estamos y no nos vamos. Let us forge our future with generosity, compassion, love, and courage. Gracias y adelante.
Thank you, Jose Luis. So before I move on, actually, is anybody wearing the Transform the Narrative sweatshirt? Can you come here? So we have these LTC sweatshirts that we made specifically for our 10th year anniversary. And they're really cool. And I thought maybe we could play some trivia and you could also have one. And then if you come to the new convener session, maybe you could also have one. So the trivia for today, and I hope I remember the answer to this question, but can anybody tell me, take a wild guess? The Latino Theater Company has been around for 39 years. Is that right? Okay. Yes. 39. Yeah, I said that. I already said it. Can anybody tell me what year the Latino Theater Company became a 501c3? It's if you can answer. The Latino Theater Company would be on the cusp of a millennial or a Gen Z. Who said that? 95. Okay, so see me after and I'll get you a sweatshirt. Yeah. Okay, that was fun. Okay, so now I get to talk about something that is very special to me and the Commons, the Diane Rodriguez Teatrista Award. The Diane Rodriguez Teatrista Award, or the Diane, was created 2 years ago. So we have a 2022 recipient, a 2023 recipient, and very shortly you will learn about the 2024 recipient. The Diane is a Latinx Theater Commons first award dedicated to an individual working in the theater field who is committed to increasing Latinx representation across disciplines. And with this award, the LTC aims to continue the legacy of Diane Rodriguez, an award-winning multi-hyphenate theater artist who tirelessly advocated for other artists and opened doors for future leaders in the field. The LTC seeks Latinx identifying applicants who are nominated by peers and colleagues throughout the field, and we award recipients who are selected by appointed committee. And so with this approach, we aim to amplify Diane's spirit of generosity and her commitment to empowering fellow artists throughout her remarkable career. This year, the LTC received over 60 nominations for the award. I hope you all submit a nomination for next year. And the selection committee included Jose Delgado, Diane's husband, Diane's best friend, Olga Garay English, two of Diane's mentees, Patricia Garza, who's also the inaugural recipient, and Jacob Padron, and the 2023 recipient, Adriana Gaviria. And so now I have the pleasure of introducing my dear friend, Patricia. Patricia worked alongside CTG Associate Artistic Director Diane Rodriguez for 6 years. Together, they engage world-renowned international and local companies on multi-year projects focused on collective and ensemble creation. Patricia frequently speaks at public events and always tries to embody Diane's spirit of generosity as well and continue it. Their passion is working with other theater professionals nationally on issues surrounding anti-racism towards collective liberation with a focus on the LGBTQIA+ community. So everyone, please help me welcome Patricia Garza.
Hello, everyone. I wasn't able to come when I received the award because I had COVID. So this is the first time I'm actually addressing the Diane Award, and I just want to say thank you so much to the Commons for creating this award. When Diane passed and transitioned, there was a lot of buzz around, oh, we need to honor Diane, we need to honor Diane, and the Commons did it. They actually did it, so thank you. It was great. since we're on Diane's home turf, it's only appropriate that we honor her today. But I don't want to get into Diane's accolades, which are many, all of her awards, all of her experience. Today, I just want to say I'm here to honor and acknowledge my friend. Diane, I'm going to try not to cry. Diane was my mentor. She used to give me notes with just a look. She'd be like, oh, are you going to do that? And she would just look away. And then I would turn around to my computer and change whatever she didn't like. She was my colleague. We shared this ratty, torn red couch at Center Theater Group that had a broken leg. And we would just sit on it, have our little cafecito in the morning, and just cackle away about whatever racism in American theater we saw today. And she also coached me and guided me. We used to travel to New York with JD and Olga, and I would always get sick because I'm weak. And she would always be like, I'm gonna toughen you up. And she did. During Diane's last days with us, she had some vocal challenges, and she was having some issues communicating. And JD and I would sit with her, and that didn't stop her, you all. She got her laptop out, and she was like bossing me around as usual. And she was like, email this person, follow up on this, make sure this is happening. There was still work to do. So I'm gonna end my portion before I introduce Jose and share with you in a keynote that Diane delivered to the Theater Bay Area Conference. She talks about this quote that she read in Sacramento. It says, "Bring me a man to match my mountain." Well, of course, Diane called out the binary. And she was like, no. But I do want to offer her rebuttal to that. And I think it's really relevant to the conversation we're going to have together over the next couple days. So I'll just offer it to you here. And like Daphne, I am also need to expand my screen. She says, "But California, dear lady, how do I match a mountain? Do I puff myself up to think I am as grand? Do I claim I am as beautiful as a natural wonder, or as profoundly steadfast as the Sierra Madres?" And she answers, "It's a state of mind. You become a mountain when you are able to view what's beyond it. Creative enough to sustain a life well led. Generous enough to protect those around you from the harsh winds that it breaks. A mountain. Match a mountain. Able to view what's beyond is vision, and vision is leadership. So let's lead. Let's look beyond our borders to find work and share work. Let's look at aesthetics. Let's think of big ideas to make our work at the center of our civil society." Thank you, Diane. Diane Rodriguez, presente. Thank you. So I get the dear pleasure of introducing not only Diane's husband, but an amazing artist and an incredible producer. So Jose has had 45 years, more now, this is probably an old bio, 45 years of experience in theater, artist management, general management, tour management, administrator, producer, business manager. He was a member of the Teatro Campesino. If you looked at archives, you could see JD act away. He is currently on their board of directors. He is also on the board of Cornerstone Theater. He is also currently on the board of Ojai Playwrights Conference and was their producing director for many years. And most importantly, JD, I just want to say thank you for opening your home and letting me be part of your life and Diane's life. I love you. Jose Delgado.
Thank you, Patricia. First of all, I want to personally and publicly thank the Latinx Theater Commons for establishing the Diane Rodriguez Teatrista Award. It's such an honor and tribute for the work and advocacy that she so tirelessly and passionately was committed to. The award continues an aspect of her work that was dear and passionate to her heart, supporting Latinx theater artists. Patricia asked me to spend a few minutes talking about Diane, but before I do that, may I ask, how many of you knew Diane? How many of you worked with Diane? Oh, okay, so it'll probably be a good 5 minutes. That's good, thank you. For a while I was wondering if it was gonna be longer, but anyway, the arc, well, first of all, we all love a good story, right? I mean, this is the business that we're in, right? We like to go to a good movie. We like to maybe read a good novel or book. We like to see our favorite novela, maybe. And certainly, we like to go and see a good play. And those of you who are scenic artists or set designers, lighting designers, directors and actors, we all are part of doing and creating a good story, working with the writers, right? And this is what Diane did and loved to do the most. And she involved herself in all aspects of the theater. She was the multi-hyphenate artist. She was a set designer for a bit. She was a costume designer. She worked with writers. She was an actor and loved working with actors. She was a producer. And finally, in the ending years of her life, she was a director. And her biggest passion was being in the room. And she learned all of this actually by being part of the work that I did, which was working with the Theatrical Company. I met Diane, and I don't want to get into this whole big chronological thing because it'll be very long, and then Patricia will throw a program at me. But just out of necessity, those of us who had a theatrical background, I'm looking at Jose Luis and Evelina, because they lived that same experience, is that we did everything. We had to do everything out of necessity. And some of you in this room continue to do that because we simply do not have the resources to be able to be so so specific about hiring a scenic designer. We do it ourselves sometimes. We make our own props sometimes, right? And we create our own costumes. Diane loved going to thrift stores and buying costumes that were forced to alter. And I know, went with some of you all to shop at the thrift stores just later in life, right? But out of that experience, those 10 years of experience that she had working with the Teatro, because we moved to Los Angeles in 1983, she became a part of the Teatro in 1973. We met, we fell in love, we got married, and we ended up on this very long journey together. We were 46 years together, and 43 of those years, we had a 3-year rehearsal. We got married 43 years ago. Those years, talking about a good story again, as part of the arc of this whole thing, was absolutely amazing. There was so many adventures. Cousin Ed, in case you don't know, Eduardo here is sort of an extended cousin, I guess, right? Yeah. He sent me a photo earlier this week of us doing an acto. What year was that? 1972 or 73, Ed? I can't. Okay, yeah, of course. Yeah. But you know, no comment. It was amazing to see that, and then it's just like all of these memories passed, and seeing what the arc of her career was like, and her commitment not only as an activist artist. We all met in the teatro as young, arrogant, precocious, talented men and women who thought we could make a difference, and indeed we did, right? And just as you all are doing today in this just generation, you have a commitment to the work, to the art form. That's why you're here. You have a commitment to develop a network, to be able to not feel like you're alone, but to create a community, which is important. Because there were times when we never felt like we had a community after a certain point. When we moved here to Los Angeles, Diane went out and she started to do the Hollywood thing, and she was very ethnic looking. She looked very, very indigenous. And once she had a makeup artist that told her, and she was playing an Indian from Mexico, so she had the long trenzo right in the back. And the makeup artist says, "Honey, why don't you just keep this? Because I think you're probably going to use it again," right? So, you know, because she could not get into the typical Hollywood scene. So there were three individuals that she met with Armando Molina, Luis Valenzuela, Rick Nájera, and they formed a group called Latins Anonymous, and they were very successful as a comedy troupe. From the comedy troupe, she ends up working at at CTG, where she hooked up with and met Luis Alfaro. Then she shifted into becoming a theater producer. Eventually, she ended up becoming an associate artistic director at CTG. While she was at CTG, she was invited to serve as a board member for TCG. I mean, you know, I think we all know who Theater Communications Group is. There, she served as the vice chair of the board, and 6 years she served as the chairwoman of the board. It was an amazing forum for her. And somewhere in here, she met the comadre Olga, and Olga was one of her big advocates. And Olga introduced her, or reintroduced her, actually, to a whole international thing. She was going to Europe, meeting with directors and other presenters and producers in Europe. One day we were driving, we were on our way to under the Radar Festival in New York, and we're in a cab from JFK. She gets a phone call, and she goes, yes, okay, all right, yes, okay. What do I need to do? All right. I go, who is that? He says, well, that was the White House. The White House? What do they want? And he's just like, well, they want to know if I'd be interested in being nominated for the National Council for the Arts. I go, oh, okay, well, you know the answer to that one. Yes, of course, right? And she goes like, yeah. And that became a whole year and almost a year and a half of being vetted. That was under the Obama administration, and you know the Senate had confirmed all these nominations, and they were not too friendly with Obama at the time, so it took a year and a half before she got that position. She was also, in that capacity, given an honorific. She was like the Honorable Diane Rodriguez, right? And she never used it. I says, well, you never use that? She's like, no, that's not cool. Nobody uses it. Honorable Diane Rodriguez. I'm so sure. Get a grip. But anyway, so everywhere in here, when she served on the board at TCG, and there was an opportunity, an empty seat on the board, she would try to swoop somebody in to nominate them. And they weren't necessarily Latinos, but they were people of color. Whenever there was somebody that was trying to make a connection with Cal Arts, or even with the Yale School of Drama, it was the same story. Get them in there. Let's get them in there somehow. You know, if she saw somebody whose work she saw that was visionary and that had a seed of potential, she would support that. One that comes to mind, artist that comes to mind, isn't even Latino, is Young Ji Lee. Young Ji Lee, she followed for years, and eventually they collaborated on a show together, and it ended up on Broadway. Young Geely never forgot that. And there were others like that. There were other stories like that. You know, there was a lot of pillow talk during all of this, during all of these years, right? And we would often, you know, sort of go back together and talk about the things that were happening during the week, during the day, of her experiences. Working at CTG was extremely stressful. It was a person of color working in basically a white-run institution that size, right? There was an article once written for American Theater that was pointing out how people get sick sometimes if you're a person of color struggling working in a mainstream, quote-unquote mainstream organization. And that may have been one of the reasons this writer noted why Diane got ill. But some of the other things that were talked about, you know, in the pillow talk were just, what do you think of this person, you know, or maybe we should do that. But one story in particular that comes to mind is when we were talking about a good story again. It's the sense of struggle. The struggle that we learned from our very first lesson that we learned from our mothers is the idea of struggle. Mother gives birth, it's a struggle. The baby goes through the birth canal, it's a struggle, right? Making that first cry, the first breath is a struggle. Taking those first steps, a struggle. So, you know, struggle became just part of the deal, you know? Struggle is just part of the deal. And so this was the conclusion that we came to. It's like, well, you know, if you're not into struggling, you might as well just hang it up, right? Hang it up, because your career isn't even gonna start. And those of you in this room, I know you know what this is all about in terms of the struggle. And, you know, all of us are on a personal journey. We're writing our own narrative. And the story includes everybody around you sometimes. And at the very end, if you should be so fortunate, you'll be able to write your own epilogue and not have somebody control the narrative for you, okay? Anyway, so that's Diane. Now it's my great pleasure to introduce, and I know I'm going to screw up your name, I'm so sorry, is Adriana Gaviria. I got it, okay. Okay.
Oh my goodness. So this is kind of like my biggest family reunion that I've ever been to. I do want to mention that I am an OG LATC Mellon Artistic Fellow from the Encuentro 2014. So it's awesome to be back. So this is a very special moment. I get to announce publicly the recipient of the Diane for 2024. The press release will go out tomorrow, so please be prepared to share widely. So the recipient for the Diane is Miranda Gonzalez. Miranda is not able to be here today, but we have a video. So here we go.
259th attempt to send you all a video after my children are asleep and before I get into casting another show. I wanted to take a brief moment to just say thank you for this award. Diane Rodriguez was my mentor and friend, and there are many moments in my life where I ask myself whether or not she would be proud, whether or not I'm embodying the values that she embodied, whether or not I'm catching all of the bright spots. And I have to say that this is the most prestigious award I've ever received in my career. And I just wanted to take a moment to say thank you and tell you that I wish I was with you all, hugging you all, laughing, having a great time, talking about art, talking about how we are going to get our stories visible in places that we're not often invited. So, thank you, and I hope to see everyone very soon. Have a good night.
Before we go to our first session, we have a little treat for you. We have a recording of Diane singing that we want you to sing along with her. No, we don't have the recording? Oh, we do. I was like, cut that. And Cousin Ed is going to lead us. It's Decorores. So let's sing along.
For nothing.